Welcome to Woodturning 150, lesson number 4, making a small goblet. And the goblet is a good project for practicing working with our end grain cuts. We are going to use a lot of tools, specifically the shallow fluted gouge for doing drilling and hollowing, something we've not tried for a long time. We'll probably finish off the project with a round nose scraper, just simply because it can cut in ways that the gouge cannot. So in the corner up here, I'm showing you pictures of some design ideas that you can consider. Any shape will work. Just keep the shaft of the goblet fairly short so you can reduce the amount of vibration that you'll be encountering. So let's get to the lathe and get started. See you at the lathe. We're at the lathe, and we've got a piece of maple on here, which I found. Looks to be a 3-inch square piece. Cut it to about the length. This will be the goblet stem foot. A little bit left for the tenon. Okay, let's check it out. Speed down to 0. Clear. Just get it around. First thing first. Well, maybe right-handed. Three-inch piece of wood. Round is a long way down. But I've cleared a lot of space here, and I need to close that back up again so I can maintain good tool control. Here we go. A little more speed. Not quite round here. So let's see what we got. Looking pretty good. There's our round piece. Now, the next thing we need to do is put a tenon on it that'll fit into this chuck. And for that, I'm going to use my skew chisel and my parting tool. So I know how deep it needs to be. I'm going to do it on this end here, just because it's convenient. You see how out of round the base is. I want that about 2 inches. So that's easy. We'll just measure it real quick. Yep, right there. And now we need to clean it up. That's where I'm going to use my skew. Clean the corner. Turn it flat. A little scraping cut. Well, that'll do it. Okay, so we've got it round. We've got a tenon on it. And now what we'll do is we'll put it back into the 4-jaw chuck. And you notice what I did. I used a different kind of live center this time. Drive center, excuse me. This is one that fits in the chuck, and it saves me from having to take my fixture off of the far end of the headstock to use a knockout bar to get this out of the way. But it's gone. And so now we have a mark here. We have a mark here, and all we have to do is go to the chuck. And loosely, just loose, until the tailstock comes up into the hole. Now I have my hands free to tighten the chuck. All right. So now we have to decide on shape. So let's do a quick layout. Let's assume the goblet's going to go down not that far. Stem like that. Base probably to there, and it has room to get in here and to part off. So I'm not going to do any stem or base work. All I want to do is shape the cup. Oh yeah, that's a bowl gouge that's been mounted in a short handle, and I use it many times. For work like this. Many times when I'm just trying to remove a lot of mass. I don't want to get this shape down too much because I need that mass for the next series of steps I'm going to perform. And I don't like it straight. I'm going to recurve it just a little bit. So it comes down here, fat spot, then on down. Now that's a bead. So the best tool for that is a tool that's designed for doing that kind of work. Seems like everything in this course is beads and codes, right? Well, that's true. So I don't know if you can see the difference in surface quality. Just that beading cut from here to here is shiny to my eye, and using the other tool shaping up here, not so much. Yeah, about like that. Okay. Now what I have to do is I have to drill this out and then hollow it out. And to do that, I'm going to have to remove my tailstock. I could use a drill bit. I could go in there and a Forstner bit and do this, but I'm not going to. I want to show you a technique using the gouges to do this work. So I'm going to stop for a second, take the tailstock off, and give me another camera angle back in here so that you can see what I'm doing down in here even better. So back in a couple of minutes. Well, I'm back. I took off the big tool rest, put on the smaller one, and I'm going to be working end grain. So the thing now is I want to be sure the tool is level, and I want to be sure I'm at center. And since I have that little hole in here from the tailstock, I have a way to adjust my tool rest height until I get it. See, that handle's still just a slight bit high. And the tool rest is setting across the end. Okay, so let's turn it on. And what I'm going to do is take the tool, the shallow fluted gouge, turn it 45 degrees, and go straight in. In other words, there's up, there's 90. I want to be right here at 45 degrees. So I'm going to take a little cut, and I can start flaring this out. Hold it. It's not my normal way of holding it, but it allows you to see better. My left hand is the pivot point. My right hand goes in. I'm not right at center, I'm going to leave a little divot in there, and that's going to be a problem. Right at center. Now, right at center, my handle's high. I'm on top of that divot, which means that I got to drop the tool rest just a smidge more. Okay. Now right here, we're going to go all the way across the surface. And that leveled that surface off. And I'm going to keep doing more of this until I've hollowed out most of the wood in here. And I'll be back in a few minutes and show you how we go on from here. Check it now. The hole is here, puts the bottom right about in here. So we've got the depth established, but we haven't got the shape in here done at all. So I'm going to switch from the gouge, which did the drilling and opening up, to a different tool. I'm going to go to my round nose scraper. And with that tool, we'll now come in here and start cleaning this up. But scrapers don't work like this. They need to work with the blade angled downhill. So when I go into the center, the handle needs to be higher than the cutting edge. So let's do that again. Open up the bottom a little bit. Now I'm going to come down the side. Make sure it's smooth like we like. A uniform wall. Let's check the uniformity. Use a set of calipers here. So right now I know the wall is about that, and right there it's starting to get thicker. So we got a little bit more down in here to remove. Maybe a smaller one. a lot of scrapers, the purpose of which is to be able to fit into different size openings. So again, handles higher. Difficult holding the tool that way and allowing you to have a camera angle here and see that at the same time I'm trying to do the hollowing. So I can feel right there's a bump, right at that spot, right there. So I don't even need to measure to find that spot. I'm going to slide the tool down the wall until I find that bump, right there. Again. Oh, it's thin right there, and it's getting thicker as it comes up. So right here is the thickness I want. So I'm going to take some mass off above there to bring it down. So there's the thin spot. Passes, I think we'll have the wall thickness about right. Pretty near, right there all the way. Yep, got it. Okay, so what we're going to do, get that sawdust out of there, do one last cleanup pass, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Okay, so now what we need to do is to bring the tool rest back around, get rid of the scraper. And now what we want to do is to bring the neck down. Needed to have this thick before we did that neck cut. So let's go back to our shallow fluted gouge. And begin to shape this down. But in stages, from here first. So let's take this cove, further down, well, this is a day where things are not choosing to go well. Well, let's do it again. Waste wood removal. A little more. To our bead. take this down about the size of my finger, and then we're going to sand all of this before we go any farther. Just removing waste wood, a little bit of time. So we'll bring this cup in a little bit more. And right at this point, I'm going to sand a little bit. Purpose of which is simply to do this while I still have a lot of mechanical support. I'll turn it on and bring the speed down just a little bit. Sand the inside there. Should break these edges. And then finish this shaping a little bit this way. Looks like a little bump right there. Not much, but just enough for me to want to fix that. And I could do that with 180 grit. We'll do a little more sanding as we get further down. So now we'll bring this neck down a little bit further, and I expect to see a shape like this on the shaft. It's my plan anyway. So let's take some more wood off here. I want to get this down to its final shape before I take any more mass off here. So more mass comes out of here. Well, I like that as a feature. I'm going to leave that. Cold. But this is the cold. The dive of his neck is up to you. The more skill you have, the smaller you might want to make it just for practice. It's the bead shape here still. Let's see. We'll finish that off. And start again. I'm thinking that's the next size for a moment until we get further, and let's see what happens. So back to taking away more wood. Working my way down. So now we're going to start working on real shaping in here. You see I'm moving around my right thumb here as a pivot point and really moving the whole tool with my body. Cuts are getting very light. Split that up in a couple of cuts. Now, work on this bead shape here again, bring this down some more. Back to this. On the bead. That's roughly it. Now I've got work to do here, of course, but I think it's a good time to do some more sanding. Okay, now in order to emphasize that little area, I'm going to take my burning wire and set it right there, and we'll burn a little line in there. Not much pressure. I've discolored the wood a little bit, and I can fix that now simply by sanding the edges. Okay, now we want to work on the bottom of the base. Come down here to a rest. And we're clear. And the base is probably going to be much thinner than that, so I'm going to use a parting tool to take some of that mass out right now. I'm going to start off with my standard parting tool. Overlapping cuts. Working down to where I think the base thickness ought to be. Each cut I'm going a little deeper too. And I'm also not going straight. I'm going this direction, which undercuts and shapes a cove at the bottom. A 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to take some more off here. This will allow me to get my hand in here and sand most of that base. off of here at the edge, and I'm going to very lightly roll right on in. What that did is provide me a chance to get that cove as smooth as possible before I start to sand. Save a little time. So a little sanding in here now. Again, this is end grain. I'm going to break this edge. Now, if you're going to work on this some more, add finish and so on, it's possible that you might want to leave it this way so you have a handle. But if we're going to cut it off, this is a good time to show you how I'm going to do that. I want enough room to get my tool rest in here, my tool in here, and I also want to be able to reach over here and grab hold to my product. So my fingers are wrapped around the stem. My thumb is here to guide the parting tool. And I'm going to take a few cuts. Several reasons. One, it gets me comfortable with using the tool this way before I make that ultimate cut. Little steps. The closer I get to the center, the slower the wood is moving. And so I lighten my touch. Lighten my touch. Eighth of an inch now, and I can feel the whole vessel vibrating. So I've got a good grip around it. My thumb is here to help the parting tool. And now, just wait. And we're off. Because my hand is wrapped around it, I was able to grab it and hold it. And I cut high a little bit here. That allows me to get in here with a tool and cut these fibers. Otherwise they would have been pulled out of the inside of the base. So this is a little carving tool work. But basically we have our first goblet. So let's talk a little bit about what we did back at the workbench where we can sit and chat for a couple minutes. Here we are, back from the wood turning project. Our chalice is completed, hollowed, the base undercut so it'll sit fairly flat. So in this video there were some things that happened that were not optimal for me. I was not able to hold the tool with my forearm like this to support that tool the way I would like. Because of the camera, I was having to hold the tool here where I did not have good support of the handle. And therefore you saw, while we were hollowing, this handle bouncing much more than I would have preferred. So in your project, if you can stand at the end of the lathe, get that tool supported like this. Same thing with the scraper. If I can get that along my forearm, I've got a chance to use all this lever arm here to stabilize that tool. Anyway, things I couldn't do because of the cameras and because of the way my lathe is positioned. And we'll do better in the next video. Next video, guess what? Our next lesson is tackling something else we've not done before. And what we're going to do is turn spheres, balls. So come back, learn several different techniques for that, and we will see you in the next lesson. Subscribe, stay safe, come back and join us for the next lesson. Thanks.